Life is a journey of relationships, opportunities, and decisions, but there is one undeniable truth: you cannot be everything to everyone. Sometimes we confuse kindness with weakness and compromise our values in the process. Today, I challenge you to stop being soft to everyone. Instead, stand firm, be wise, and guard your heart. Not everyone deserves your time, energy, or trust. Let us explore 10 key principles that will empower you to be strong and purposeful in your interactions. Your value is not determined by what others think or say about you. It is embedded in who you are at your core. To understand your worth, you must first recognize that you were created with purpose and intention. You are not a mistake, nor are you an afterthought. Every fiber of your being was designed to fulfill a specific role in this world. When you grasp this truth, it changes how you see yourself and how you allow others to treat you. Understanding your worth means knowing that your time, energy, and presence are precious. You cannot pour yourself into every demand or expectation others place upon you. When you undervalue yourself, you open the door to being mistreated or taken advantage of. But when you truly understand your intrinsic value, you begin to demand respect not through arrogance, but through the quiet confidence of knowing who you are. This understanding shapes your decisions, your relationships, and even how you pursue your goals. When you know your worth, you stop chasing approval. You no longer feel the need to explain or justify your actions to people who do not value you. You walk with a sense of purpose, grounded in the knowledge that your worth is not tied to external validation. This awareness liberates you from the chains of people-pleasing and gives you the courage to stand firm in your beliefs and choices. To understand your worth is also to understand that you bring something unique to every situation. You have gifts, talents, and abilities that no one else can replicate. These were placed in you for a reason, and they are not to be squandered or ignored. When you diminish your own value, you deprive the world of the contribution you were meant to make. But when you embrace your worth, you step into your calling with boldness, ready to impact those around you. Your worth also demands that you protect yourself. Not everyone is meant to have access to your life. Some people may see your kindness and mistake it for weakness, using it for their benefit without regard for your well-being. But when you understand your value, you become selective about where and how you invest your energy. You learn to say no without guilt because you recognize that preserving your peace is just as important as serving others. In understanding your worth, you align yourself with the truth of who you were created to be. This alignment allows you to stand tall, walk confidently, and live purposefully. It is a foundation that empowers you to navigate life's challenges without losing sight of your identity. When you truly understand your worth, you stop settling for less than what you deserve, and you begin to live with the dignity and strength that reflect the greatness within you. Setting healthy boundaries is an act of wisdom, not selfishness. It is the recognition that you cannot give your best to the world if you allow everyone and everything to pull you in different directions. Boundaries are not barriers, they are safeguards that protect the treasures of your life: your time, energy, emotions, and peace. When you establish boundaries, you are declaring that your well-being matters and that you value the purpose for which you were created. A lack of boundaries leads to chaos and frustration. You find yourself saying yes to things you should decline simply because you fear disappointing others or being misunderstood. But when you constantly give without restraint, you risk depleting yourself and losing sight of your priorities. A life without boundaries is like a city without walls, vulnerable to anything and anyone that seeks to invade it. Healthy boundaries fortify you, allowing you to focus on what truly matters. Boundaries require clarity. You must know what you stand for, what you value, and what you need to thrive. This clarity helps you determine what you will and will not tolerate. When you are unclear about your boundaries, you leave room for confusion and exploitation. People will take as much as you allow them to, not out of malice, but because human nature often seeks the path of least resistance. It is your responsibility to define and communicate where the line is drawn. Enforcing boundaries does not mean you stop caring for others. It means you care for them in ways that do not compromise your own health and purpose. It allows you to give from a place of strength rather than resentment or obligation. Without boundaries, your acts of kindness can turn into burdens, leaving you drained and unfulfilled. But with healthy boundaries, you can serve others joyfully and intentionally, knowing you are giving your best without sacrificing yourself. Boundaries also teach people how to treat you. They signal what is acceptable and what is not. When you allow disrespect or overstep, you inadvertently teach others that such behavior is permissible. But when you firmly and lovingly uphold your boundaries, you establish a standard of respect. This not only protects you, but also cultivates healthier and more balanced relationships. There will be moments when setting boundaries feels uncomfortable. You may fear rejection, conflict, or being labeled as unkind. But remember, boundaries are not about pleasing people, they are about living a life of purpose and integrity. True relationships, the ones that matter, will honor your boundaries because they value you. Those that resist are often the ones that sought to take advantage of your openness. Boundaries also extend to how you manage your time and commitments. Every moment of your day is an investment. Without boundaries, your time can be squandered on distractions and demands that pull you away from your goals. By setting limits on how and where you spend your time, you prioritize what aligns with your vision and eliminates what does not. Ultimately, boundaries are an expression of self-respect. They remind you that you are not here to be all things to all people. You are here to fulfill a purpose, and that purpose requires focus, intention, and preservation of your resources. Boundaries empower you to live a life that is not dictated by others' expectations, but guided by your own convictions and clarity of purpose. Seeking validation from others is a trap that can rob you of your peace, purpose, and authenticity. It is a subtle but powerful habit that causes you to measure your worth based on the approval of those around you. When you live for validation, you become a slave to opinions, constantly adjusting yourself to fit into the mold of what others expect or desire. But the truth is, you were not created to live for the applause of people. You were created to fulfill a purpose that transcends human approval. The need for validation often stems from insecurity or a lack of understanding about who you truly are. When you don't know your identity, you seek external affirmation to fill the void. You may find yourself constantly asking, "Am I good enough? Do they like me? Did I do it right?" This cycle can become exhausting because people's opinions are fickle. They change with circumstances, emotions, and personal biases. Building your confidence on such a shaky foundation leaves you vulnerable to rejection and criticism. Living for validation also leads to compromise. You start to make decisions not based on what is right or purposeful, but on what will gain you acceptance. You may hide your true thoughts, adjust your values, or even neglect your principles to avoid conflict or criticism. Over time, this erodes your sense of self. You become a shadow of who you were meant to be, trapped in a persona crafted to please others. When you stop seeking validation, you reclaim your freedom. You no longer feel the need to explain or justify your actions to everyone around you. This does not mean you ignore wise counsel or constructive feedback. It means you weigh the opinions of others against your own convictions and choose to follow what aligns with your purpose. You become selective about whose voices you allow to influence your journey. True confidence comes from within, from a deep understanding of your value and your mission. It allows you to stand firm, even when others don't understand or agree with you. Confidence rooted in purpose cannot be shaken by criticism, because it is not built on external applause. When you know who you are and why you are here, you can walk boldly, regardless of whether anyone else approves. This shift in mindset also transforms how you view rejection. When you no longer live for validation, rejection loses its sting. You realize that not everyone will see your worth or support your path, and that is okay. Their approval is not a requirement for your success. In fact, some rejections are blessings in disguise, redirecting you to places and people that are better aligned with your destiny. Living free from the need for validation also cultivates authenticity. You become comfortable with who you are, flaws and all. You no longer feel the pressure to pretend or perform for acceptance. Instead, you attract genuine connections with people who value you for who you truly are, not for the image you project. Authenticity is magnetic. It draws the right people and opportunities into your life. This freedom allows you to focus on what truly matters. When you stop chasing validation, you can invest your time and energy into pursuing your goals, nurturing meaningful relationships, and growing into the person you were meant to be. You stop worrying about pleasing everyone and start living intentionally, guided by purpose and clarity. Ultimately, the need for validation is a distraction from the path of purpose. When you release it, you step into a life of freedom, authenticity, and strength. You begin to live not for the applause of people, but for the fulfillment of the vision placed within you. This is where true peace and confidence are found, not in the fleeting approval of others, but in the unwavering assurance of your identity and calling. Choosing relationships wisely is one of the most important decisions you will ever make. The people you allow into your life have the power to influence your thoughts, your actions, and ultimately your destiny. Relationships are never neutral. They either build you up or tear you down, propel you forward or hold you back. This is why it is critical to be discerning about who you allow into your inner circle. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay, and not everyone who smiles at you has your best interests at heart. The foundation of wise relationships is alignment. You must align yourself with people who share your values, respect your purpose, and contribute to your growth. When you walk with those who are headed in the same direction, you find strength and encouragement. They challenge you to be better, hold you accountable, and celebrate your victories. These are the relationships that sharpen you, like iron sharpening iron, and prepare you for the challenges ahead. On the other hand, relationships that are misaligned can become a heavy burden. When you surround yourself with people who do not understand or support your vision, they can drain your energy, cloud your judgment, and derail your progress. These individuals may not intentionally harm you, but their lack of alignment with your purpose creates friction. You find yourself constantly justifying your decisions, compromising your values, or fighting to maintain your focus. Over time, this wear and tear can hinder your ability to fulfill your potential. Wise relationships are also built on mutual respect. There is no room for manipulation, control, or disrespect in healthy connections. You must set a standard for how you expect to be treated and hold to it firmly. Those who truly value you will respect your boundaries, honor your values, and treat you with kindness and dignity. Those who do not are not worthy of your time or trust. Recognizing this early can save you from unnecessary pain and disappointment. It is equally important to recognize that not every relationship is meant to last forever. Some people come into your life for a season to teach you a lesson or help you grow, and then their time in your journey ends. Clinging to relationships that have run their course can stunt your growth and prevent you from moving forward. Letting go is not always easy, but it is necessary for your progress. When you release what no longer serves you, you create space for new and better connections to enter your life. Wisdom in relationships also means prioritizing quality over quantity. It is better to have a few deep, meaningful connections than to surround yourself with a crowd of acquaintances who offer little value. Superficial relationships may provide temporary companionship, but they lack the depth needed to sustain you in difficult times. Seek out individuals who are trustworthy, dependable, and genuinely invested in your well-being. Your choice of relationships also affects your mindset. The people you spend the most time with influence how you think, how you see the world, and how you approach challenges. If you surround yourself with negative, small-minded individuals, their attitudes will eventually rub off on you. But when you align with those who are optimistic, driven, and visionary, their energy and mindset will inspire you to aim higher and strive for excellence. Wise relationships require intentional effort. It is not enough to drift through life hoping to find the right people. You must actively seek them out, nurture those connections, and invest in the relationships that matter. This means being present, communicating openly, and offering the same respect and support that you expect in return. Relationships are a two-way street, and the effort you put in often determines the value you receive. Ultimately, the relationships you choose will shape the course of your life. They have the power to elevate you to new heights or hold you captive in mediocrity. Choose wisely, because your destiny is too important to entrust to just anyone. Surround yourself with people who align with your vision, respect your values, and inspire you to be the best version of yourself. In doing so, you will create a network of relationships that propel you toward your purpose and empower you to fulfill your calling. Refusing to compromise your values is a cornerstone of living a life of integrity and purpose. Your values are the principles and standards that define who you are, guide your decisions, and shape the course of your life. When you compromise these values, you begin to lose sight of your identity, sacrificing the very foundation that gives you strength and direction. Standing firm in your values is not just about holding on to beliefs, it is about honoring the truth within you and living a life that reflects your purpose. Compromising your values often begins subtly. It may start with small decisions, choosing to stay silent when you should speak up, going along with something you know is wrong to avoid conflict, or accepting behavior that contradicts your principles for the sake of fitting in. These small compromises may seem insignificant in the moment, but they create cracks in your foundation. Over time, they can grow into larger patterns that erode your sense of self and leave you feeling unfulfilled and disoriented. Your values are not meant to be negotiable. They serve as a compass, pointing you toward what is right and true. They are the benchmarks against which you measure your actions and decisions. When you allow external pressures, whether from people, circumstances, or cultural trends, to sway you away from your values, you risk losing your way. But when you stand firm, you remain anchored, no matter how turbulent the world around you becomes. Refusing to compromise your values often requires courage. There will be times when standing firm makes you unpopular or misunderstood. People may criticize you, question your motives, or even distance themselves from you because you refuse to conform. But the strength to hold on to your values comes from understanding that you are not here to please everyone. You are here to fulfill a purpose. And that purpose requires conviction. True courage is not the absence of fear, but the determination to do what is right despite it. Living by your values also means being consistent. It is not enough to hold firm in some situations while wavering in others. Consistency builds credibility. When your actions align with your values, you earn the trust and respect of those around you. People may not always agree with you, but they will admire your integrity and reliability. Consistency also strengthens your own confidence. The more you stand by your principles, the more you believe in your ability to do so, even in challenging situations. Refusing to compromise your values protects you from regret. When you act against your principles, you often feel a sense of unease or guilt afterward. This inner conflict arises because your actions are not aligned with who you truly are. Over time, these compromises can lead to a deep sense of dissatisfaction and self-doubt. But when you remain true to your values, you can look back on your decisions with peace and confidence, knowing you stayed true to yourself. This commitment to your values also impacts your relationships. When you live with integrity, you attract people who share your principles and respect your convictions. These relationships are built on trust, mutual understanding, and shared purpose. On the other hand, compromising your values to gain approval or avoid conflict often leads to superficial or unbalanced relationships that lack the depth and authenticity you desire. Standing firm in your values requires self-awareness. You must take the time to identify what truly matters to you and why. This clarity empowers you to make decisions with confidence, even when faced with opposition. It also helps you prioritize, ensuring that your actions align with your long-term goals and purpose, rather than temporary desires or pressures. Ultimately, your values are a reflection of your purpose and identity. They are not burdens, but gifts, tools that empower you to navigate life with wisdom, courage, and integrity. Refusing to compromise them is not about being inflexible, it is about staying true to the path you were created to walk. When you live by your values, you live with a sense of clarity, strength, and peace that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. You become a person of substance, someone who inspires others and leaves a lasting impact on the world. Prioritizing self-respect is essential for a life of dignity and purpose. Self-respect is the acknowledgement of your inherent value, the decision to treat yourself with honor, and the commitment to live in a way that aligns with that understanding. It shapes how you see yourself, how you allow others to treat you, and how you navigate the challenges of life. Without self-respect, it becomes difficult to set boundaries, make wise decisions, or stand firm in the face of adversity. But when you prioritize it, you create a foundation of confidence, strength, and clarity. Self-respect begins with recognizing your worth. You were created with intention, equipped with gifts, and placed here for a purpose. This realization is not rooted in arrogance, but in a deep understanding of your unique value. When you see yourself through this lens, you naturally begin to treat yourself with care and refuse to accept anything less than what aligns with your dignity. Self-respect is not about demanding perfection, but about honoring your journey and acknowledging your potential. Living with self-respect means setting standards for yourself and others. You cannot expect people to treat you better than you treat yourself. If you allow disrespect, neglect your own needs, or compromise your principles, you send the message that you do not value yourself. But when you hold yourself to high standards by maintaining integrity, nurturing your well-being, and pursuing your goals, you inspire others to respect you as well. People may not always agree with your choices, but they will recognize the strength in your self-respect. Prioritizing self-respect also means learning to say no. There will be moments when others ask for more than you can give or expect you to compromise your values for their convenience. Saying no is not a rejection of others, it is an affirmation of your boundaries and priorities. It is a declaration that your time, energy, and peace are not to be taken lightly. Self-respect empowers you to stand firm in these moments, knowing that you are not here to please everyone but to fulfill your purpose with intention and focus. Self-respect is evident in how you handle challenges and setbacks. Life will not always go as planned, and there will be moments when you stumble or fall short. But self-respect calls you to rise again, to learn from your mistakes, and to keep moving forward. It reminds you that failure does not define you, it refines you. When you respect yourself, you refuse to let temporary setbacks derail your journey. Instead, you use them as stepping stones toward growth and success. This principle also extends to how you speak to yourself. The words you tell yourself shape your mindset, and ultimately your actions. Self-respect means silencing the voice of self-criticism and replacing it with words of encouragement and affirmation. It means recognizing your strengths, celebrating your progress, and forgiving yourself when you fall short. Treat yourself with the same kindness and patience you would offer to a dear friend, because you cannot truly respect yourself if you are constantly tearing yourself down. Self-respect also guides the relationships you cultivate. When you prioritize self-respect, you naturally attract people who honor and appreciate you. You no longer settle for relationships that drain or diminish you, and you walk away from those that undermine your dignity. Instead, you invest in connections that uplift, inspire, and align with your values. These relationships are not only more fulfilling but also contribute to your growth and success. Living with self-respect requires consistency. It is not a one-time decision but a daily practice of making choices that reflect your worth. Whether it is in how you manage your time, the goals you pursue, or the way you handle conflict, self-respect should be the underlying principle. It calls for discipline, self-awareness, and the courage to stand firm in your beliefs, even when it is difficult. Ultimately, self-respect is about aligning your actions with your identity and purpose. It is the realization that you are worthy of love, honor, and fulfillment, not because of what you achieve, but because of who you are. When you prioritize self-respect, you unlock the strength and confidence to navigate life with clarity and purpose. You begin to live not for the approval of others, but for the fulfillment of your calling, walking with the quiet assurance that you are worthy of every good thing destined for you. Embracing personal responsibility is one of the most liberating and transformative decisions you can make. It is the acknowledgement that your life, your choices, and your destiny are in your hands. While it is easy to blame circumstances, other people, or external forces for where you are, true growth begins when you stop pointing fingers and take ownership of your journey. Personal responsibility is not about carrying unnecessary burdens or feeling guilty for every outcome. It is about recognizing your power to influence your future and acting with intention and purpose. When you take responsibility for your life, you stop being a victim of circumstances. Challenges, setbacks, and injustices will arise, but they do not define you. What defines you is how you respond. Life is full of factors beyond your control, but your attitude, perspective, and actions are always within your grasp. By focusing on what you can control, you shift from a mindset of helplessness to one of empowerment. This shift allows you to rise above adversity and turn obstacles into opportunities for growth. Personal responsibility requires self-awareness. You must be willing to examine your actions, attitudes, and decisions with honesty. It means asking yourself tough questions. What could I have done differently? How did my choices contribute to this situation? What can I learn from this experience? This level of introspection can be uncomfortable, but it is necessary for growth. When you take responsibility, you stop making excuses and start seeking solutions. You begin to see mistakes not as failures, but as valuable lessons that guide you toward success. Taking responsibility also means letting go of entitlement. The world owes you nothing. Success, happiness, and fulfillment are not handed out freely. They are earned through effort, discipline, and perseverance. When you let go of the expectation that others should make things easier for you, you free yourself to pursue your goals with determination. This mindset shift allows you to approach life with gratitude, appreciating every opportunity and working diligently to create the outcomes you desire. Responsibility is also a call to action. It is not enough to recognize your role in your circumstances. You must also take proactive steps to change what needs to be changed. Whether it is improving your skills, adjusting your habits, or shifting your mindset, personal responsibility demands intentional effort. It requires you to stop waiting for others to fix your problems and instead take bold, decisive action to create the life you envision. This sense of agency is empowering because it reminds you that your future is not dictated by chance but by choice. When you embrace personal responsibility, you also learn the value of accountability. This means holding yourself to a standard of integrity and following through on your commitments. It is easy to make promises, set goals, or declare intentions, but the real test is in your actions. Accountability keeps you focused and disciplined, ensuring that you remain aligned with your values and purpose. It also fosters trust and respect in your relationships as others see that you are dependable and true to your word. And personal responsibility transforms your perspective on failure. Instead of fearing it or avoiding it, you begin to see failure as a stepping stone to success. Taking responsibility means owning your failures, learning from them, and using them as fuel for improvement. You stop seeing setbacks as the end of the road and start viewing them as opportunities to refine your approach and grow stronger. This resilience builds confidence as you realize that no failure is final unless you choose to give up. This principle also extends to how you interact with others. When you take responsibility for your actions, you become a person of integrity. You own up to your mistakes, apologize when necessary, and seek to make things right. This humility and accountability strengthen your relationships, fostering trust and mutual respect. At the same time, taking responsibility means recognizing that you cannot control others. Instead of trying to change people, you focus on changing yourself and setting a positive example. Ultimately, embracing personal responsibility leads to freedom. It frees you from the limitations of blame, excuses, and victimhood. It empowers you to take charge of your life and create a future that reflects your values and aspirations. This freedom comes with a sense of fulfillment, as you realize that you have the power to shape your destiny. Personal responsibility is not a burden, but a gift, a reminder that within you lies the strength, wisdom, and determination to rise above any challenge and live a life of purpose and significance. Setting boundaries with others is one of the most critical acts of self-care and self-respect you can practice. Boundaries define the limits of what you will and will not accept in your relationships, your work, and your interactions with the world. They are not walls designed to keep people out, but guidelines that ensure your emotional, mental, and even physical well-being is protected. Without boundaries, you risk losing your sense of self, overextending your energy, and living a life dictated by the demands and expectations of others. Boundaries begin with self-awareness. You must first understand your values, priorities, and limits. What matters most to you? What drains your energy? What behaviors or situations cause you to feel disrespected or undervalued? Recognizing these aspects of yourself allows you to establish clear guidelines that reflect your needs and protect your peace. Without this self-awareness, you may find yourself constantly reacting to others' expectations without considering your own well-being. When you set boundaries, you communicate your worth. You are saying, I value myself enough to protect my time, my energy, and my peace. This is not an act of selfishness. It is an acknowledgement of your intrinsic value and a commitment to honoring that value. People who genuinely care about you will respect your boundaries, even if they do not fully understand them. Those who resist or challenge your boundaries may reveal their lack of respect for you, and this is valuable insight into the nature of those relationships. Setting boundaries requires courage. It is not always easy to say no or to express your limits, especially if you fear conflict or rejection. But boundaries are not about pleasing others, they are about living authentically and safeguarding what is important to you. It takes courage to stand firm when others push back or attempt to guilt you into compromising. Yet with each act of boundary setting, you strengthen your confidence and reinforce your sense of self-respect. Boundaries are not static, they evolve as you grow. What you needed in one season of life may differ from what you need in another. For example, as you pursue your goals or take on new responsibilities, you may find it necessary to limit how much time you spend on activities or relationships that do not align with your priorities. This does not mean you are neglecting others, it means you are being intentional about where you direct your energy. Reassessing and adjusting your boundaries ensures they continue to serve you effectively. Healthy boundaries also enhance your relationships. Contrary to the fear that boundaries push people away, they actually create an environment of respect and clarity. When you set boundaries, you communicate your expectations, which reduces misunderstandings and resentment. This clarity allows for deeper, more meaningful connections because both parties understand and respect each other's limits. Relationships built on mutual respect thrive, while those that disregard boundaries often become sources of stress and frustration. Boundaries are also essential for managing your energy. Without them, you risk spreading yourself too thin by saying yes to every request or demand. This can lead to burnout, exhaustion, and a loss of focus on what truly matters. By setting limits, you ensure that your energy is directed toward the things and people that align with your purpose. You preserve your capacity to give your best in the areas that matter most. Practicing boundaries requires consistency. It is not enough to set them once, you must reinforce them regularly. This may mean reminding others of your limits or holding firm when someone tests them. Consistency is key to ensuring that your boundaries are respected and taken seriously. It also strengthens your resolve as you see the positive impact that boundaries have on your life and relationships. Boundaries also teach others how to treat you. When you consistently uphold your limits, you set a standard for how you expect to be treated. This creates a ripple effect, encouraging others to reflect on their own boundaries and fostering a culture of respect and consideration. Conversely, if you allow others to repeatedly cross your boundaries without consequence, you send the message that your needs are secondary. Upholding your boundaries reinforces the principle that you are deserving of respect and care. Ultimately, boundaries are a form of freedom. They free you from the pressure to please everyone, the exhaustion of overcommitting, and the frustration of feeling taken advantage of. They allow you to live authentically, prioritize your well-being, and focus on your purpose. Boundaries are not about exclusion, they are about creating a space where you can thrive, grow, and connect with others in a way that is healthy and sustainable. By setting and honoring your boundaries, you take control of your life and create an environment where your values, priorities, and peace are safeguarded. Learning to value your time is one of the most profound decisions you can make because time is your most precious and non-renewable resource. Unlike money, possessions, or even energy, time can never be reclaimed once it is spent. Each passing moment is an opportunity to build, grow, and move closer to your purpose or to waste on distractions, meaningless pursuits, and activities that add no value to your life. To value your time is to recognize its fleeting nature and to use it wisely, intentionally, and purposefully. When you understand the value of your time, you begin to see it as a currency that must be invested carefully. Every hour you spend is like a seed planted. You can choose to plant it in fertile soil where it will bear fruit, or you can scatter it aimlessly and see no return. The key is to ask yourself, how am I using my time and what kind of harvest will it produce? This mindset shifts your focus from short-term pleasures to long-term gains, aligning your daily activities with your ultimate goals and values. Valuing your time starts with understanding your priorities. Not everything that demands your time deserves it. Many people and situations will compete for your attention, but you must learn to discern between what is urgent and what is important. Urgency often creates pressure, but it does not always align with your purpose. Importance, on the other hand, is rooted in your goals, responsibilities, and values. When you prioritize what truly matters, you take control of your schedule instead of letting external forces dictate it. One of the greatest challenges to valuing your time is the temptation of distractions. In today's world, countless things vie for your attention: social media, entertainment, trivial conversations, and endless to-do lists. While these distractions may seem harmless in the moment, they can steal precious hours from your day. To value your time is to recognize these distractions for what they are and to exercise discipline in avoiding them. It means creating boundaries that protect your focus and dedicating your energy to tasks that align with your purpose. Valuing your time also requires you to say no. This can be one of the hardest lessons to learn, especially if you are someone who dislikes disappointing others. But every time you say yes to something that does not align with your priorities, you are saying no to something that does. Your time is limited, and you cannot do everything. By saying no to distractions, unnecessary commitments, and demands that do not serve your purpose, you free yourself to say yes to what truly matters. Another key aspect of valuing your time is being fully present in the moment. Time is not just about quantity, it is about quality. You may have hours available, but if you are not fully engaged in what you are doing, those hours are wasted. Being present means giving your full attention to the task at hand, whether it is working on a project, spending time with loved ones, or simply resting. When you are present, you make the most of every moment, and the results of your efforts are far more impactful. Valuing your time also means recognizing the importance of rest and renewal. Many people equate productivity with constant activity, but this is a misconception. Rest is not a waste of time, it is an investment in your well-being and effectiveness. When you take time to recharge, whether through sleep, reflection, or recreation, you enhance your ability to focus, make decisions, and perform at your best. Neglecting rest, on the other hand, leads to burnout and diminished productivity, ultimately costing you more time in the long run. To value your time is to embrace planning and intentionality. A day without a plan is a day left to chance. Planning your time allows you to allocate it to the things that matter most, ensuring that your efforts are purposeful and productive. This does not mean every moment must be rigidly scheduled, but it does mean approaching your day with clarity and intention. A clear plan helps you avoid wasting time on indecision or activities that do not contribute to your goals. Valuing your time also requires self-respect. When you allow others to waste your time or when you engage in activities that diminish its value, you are sending a message that your time, and by extension, your life, is not valuable. But when you guard your time fiercely, you demonstrate respect for yourself and for the purpose you are here to fulfill. This respect inspires others to value your time as well, creating a culture of mutual appreciation and consideration. Finally, valuing your time is an act of gratitude. Every moment you have is a gift, and each day is an opportunity to make progress, connect with others, and live out your purpose. When you treat your time as precious, you honor the gift of life itself. You stop taking moments for granted and begin to approach each day with a sense of urgency and intentionality. This gratitude transforms how you live, motivating you to use your time in ways that bring fulfillment, growth, and meaning to your life and to those around you. You must learn to release the past if you are to move forward and achieve the greatness that lies ahead of you. The past, with all its triumphs and tragedies, is like a shadow that follows you, but if you remain fixated on it, it will prevent you from stepping fully into your future. There is a profound truth in the understanding that the past does not define you, it merely informs you. It holds lessons, not chains. Every experience, whether positive or negative, contributes to your growth, but it is your decision whether to let it empower you or trap you in a cycle of regret, guilt, or nostalgia. Releasing the past requires a shift in perspective. Many people get stuck in what could have been, living in the what if and if only of their former lives. But these thoughts do nothing but rob you of your present. They create a mental and emotional prison where you are bound by the mistakes, losses, and missed opportunities of yesterday. Yet when you release those mental chains, you create the space to build a life based on the wisdom you gained, the lessons learned, and the possibilities of tomorrow. Your power is not in what is already past, but in what you choose to do with the present moment and the future. To release the past, you must first forgive. Forgiveness is not for the other person, it is for you. It is an act of liberation, an acknowledgement that holding on to bitterness, resentment, or anger only keeps you tethered to a version of yourself that no longer serves you. Forgiveness allows you to let go of the emotional weight that you carry, freeing you to walk forward without dragging the burden of past hurts. The people who wronged you, the failures you experienced, the losses you've endured, they no longer have control over you once you choose to forgive. It is a declaration that you will not allow the actions or events of the past to steal your peace any longer. Releasing the past also requires you to embrace personal responsibility. It is recognizing that you are the one who chooses how you respond to your history. The pain, the disappointments, and the mistakes have shaped you, but they do not have the power to limit you unless you allow them to. You must own your role in your past while acknowledging that it is not the whole story of who you are. You are not the sum of your failures or the repetition of past mistakes. You are a dynamic being capable of creating a new narrative with every thought, every action, and every decision you make moving forward. This is the essence of personal empowerment, understanding that your future is not written by your past, but by the choices you make today. The act of releasing the past also requires you to make peace with your own imperfections. We all have moments in our history that we wish we could rewrite, regrets we would undo, and mistakes we wish we could reverse. However, the desire to change what cannot be changed only serves to imprison your mind and spirit. Perfection is not the goal, growth is. The sooner you accept that you will never be perfect, the sooner you can stop looking back in disappointment and begin moving forward with hope. Your imperfection does not diminish your value. In fact, it is through imperfection that you are refined, tested, and ultimately made stronger. To release the past is also to free yourself from the limitations that others have placed on you. People will often label you based on your history, on what you did or failed to do. But these labels are not your truth. They are merely others' perceptions based on what they see, not who you truly are. The challenge is not to prove others wrong, but to prove to yourself that you are more than what has been said about you. By releasing the grip of others' opinions, you reclaim your identity and reaffirm your right to evolve. You define who you are and what you are capable of, not the narratives that others have imposed on you. Letting go of the past also means embracing the unknown future. The fear of the unknown often keeps people anchored to their past because it feels safer to cling to the familiar, even if it brings pain or limitations. However, the future is where your potential lies. It is the land of possibilities and untapped opportunities. By releasing the past, you open the door to this future and allow yourself to explore uncharted territory. You begin to see life not as a set of repeating cycles, but as a continual unfolding of new chapters, each more exciting and full of promise than the last. The key to moving forward is trust that, despite the uncertainties, the best is yet to come. This is not to say that you should forget your past. There is wisdom in reflection, and the past serves as a teacher, not a master. But there is a big difference between learning from the past and living in it. You must reflect, understand, and grow from it, but then let it go. It no longer serves you to dwell on things that cannot be undone. Instead, channel your energy into creating a future that is aligned with your purpose, desires, and values. You are the author of your own story, and the beauty of life is that every day offers a new page to be written. What matters most is not how you have fallen, but how you rise and what you do with the lessons learned. To release the past is also to practice gratitude for the journey. Even the struggles, the pain, and the heartbreak have played a vital role in shaping you into the person you are today. Without those challenges, you may not have discovered your resilience, your strength, or your capacity for growth. By being grateful for the experiences that have brought you here, you acknowledge that they were not in vain. They have equipped you with the wisdom to navigate the future with greater clarity and confidence. Ultimately, releasing the past is an act of freedom. It is liberation from what has already been, a release from the chains that have held you back, and a stepping into the fullness of who you are meant to be. The past may be a part of your story, but it does not have to be the defining chapter. Your future is yours to write, and it begins the moment you choose to let go of what no longer serves you. When you release the past, you open yourself up to a new world of possibilities, and you become free to live your life fully, powerfully, and authentically. Stop being soft to everyone because it dilutes your strength, purpose, and peace. Be kind, but let your kindness be guided by wisdom. Be strong, but let your strength be rooted in love. By doing so, you will walk confidently in the path set before you, unshaken by the noise of others.